Wait. 1,000 waves per millisecond, baby. Okay, so yesterday I sat through this story. It is a podcast by Jules called So This Is Love, and she basically allows people to share their stories on their past relationships, especially the ones that didn't work out, and they kind of get their lessons from them. Trigger warning, that episode has a lot of domestic abuse. It has a lot of emotional abuse as well. Yeah, so if you can't really stomach such things, I would advise to stay away. But for those who've actually watched this, let's really talk about it. First of all, what they need to do is arrest the boy mom. We need to start, the problem always starts with the boy. The boy mom's not going to die. Arrest that boy mom right now. In fact, it's not even a boy mom. The man is over the bar of age. And these are the women who enable narcissists. They're enabling abusers, violent men for validation. The male validation will be the end of us, I'm telling you. Coming from experience, kill that male validation today. Leo. And be free among the birds. Be free among the... See mama wima. See mama wima, dear. And irrespective of gender, if somebody just knows that you'll do anything for their validation, they will take you across the mud. By the time they're done with you, you just say, that was a tough spiritual battle. Number 2, normalize leaving after the first red flag because it shall never get better. Amen? In fact, they increase the disrespect and say, how is the temperature? And I love how Jules also highlighted that leaving an abusive relationship by statistics takes at least 8 times of going back. But what you're not gonna do is ever give up. Baby, leave, go home. I'm speaking to you right now. If you're in an abusive relationship, go home. Another thing is listen to your intuition. As a woman, you've been given free intuition. If it literally whispers from the gods, from the godmothers. Tafakari hayo. Listen deeply. And because as women, we're kind of told to cater to other people's needs. So you're sitting there, you're super triggered, your heart is beating fast, you can't see. The heartbreak is about to kill you. But you just sit there and gaslight yourself and say, it's okay, I'm okay. You're not okay. This is symptoms of cardiac arrest. Ebu, go home. Throughout this story, I was just waiting for the point where she'll say, I packed my things and went home, but but 1 hour, I still have 1 hour to go. I'm like, God, there's more. And never ever let your partner put you in situations that you don't want, i.e. threesomes. If you don't want to do them, and I feel like I respect the people who do, if you don't want to do them, why are you doing them, bro? No, you don't have to match his freak. Come on, it's too freaky for you. And honestly, I recommend an STD screening for the man. Women after women after women after women. Women in the back door, women in the cupboards, women in the family. Might even be with these cars. Just women. And I ask myself, what thou art sex drive does this man have? There's a point this woman was pregnant and he's like, because you can't satisfy me, I must have a sex slave. There were points the man was strangling her, about to literally kill her. Even there's a time she said she tasted death. And the mother would come and be like, you're not listening to him, you're not being submissive, that's why. You guys, ile could crash out, nigga crash out. I'd be on shade room. I don't know. I'd just crash out in a way. I don't know. I don't underestimate my power to kuchizi. I don't really. And every time she was just saying, it's okay, that's interesting. Interesting? She finds him with another woman in the room. That's interesting. Interesting! And that's when I knew I've not been through anything. In fact, I'm not a victim of anything and I need to be grateful to God. Other than that, if there's one thing you can take from this, love yourself first before you can love your neighbor, baby. Otherwise, you'll just be traumatized.
I'm sure most of us have come across the trending Spotify podcast, Sophia and Bumpy. So this is love. And this is my 2 cents in regards to what I've listened so far for the 2 hours that I've listened. The biggest victim here is Sophia. And her biggest crime was that she was naive. She was a naive little girl, never knew when to dissent a man. And she so much seeked male validation to an extent where she overlooked so many things. Sophie, you are a calm, well-spoken lady who had good intentions towards your relationship, towards your marriage, and your family. There's a point where you keep trying things, and if they're not working out, babe, just leave. At least you've tried. It's okay at some point if you are trying, but things are not just working out. It's okay to just say, I tried, and leave. We understand Sophie grew up in a setup of being raised by a single mother. I don't think that's a crime just because you've been brought up by a single mother. It's not a crime. Something that maybe a parent or a guardian would have taken her through and tell her that it's okay to leave when respect is no longer served on that table. She saw the first red flag, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. And instead of taking that as a red flag and leaving, she badly wanted to change this man, and she continued staying, and the disrespect got worse and worse every time she chose to stay. 2. Sophia's mom. You failed your daughter. Let's take fault where it's due. You failed your daughter. At first, your instincts communicated that the intention of this man was not in sync with what your daughter deserved. You could feel it. And I salute you for telling her this at first. But with time, I don't know what changed. She used to come to you with a few issues. Maybe you could even notice that she's a bit off. And instead of you talking to her and telling her that it's okay to not have a relationship that is not working and just walk out of it, you continued to tell her to tolerate these behaviors. And she didn't have any other person to look up to. It was you. So that's why she kept going back. At some point, we need to tell our children the truth as much as it hurts. Because asiyefunzwa na mamaye atafunzwa na ulimwengu. At some point, we have to apply every pressure necessary if we feel a situation is not right for our child. It's in us to show them that you have to listen whether you like it or not and leave before things start getting worse. So at some point where now things were really escalating and she used to confide in her mom, instead of her mom actually telling her the truth, when it was necessary, she told her to persevere. And by the time she realized that things were really bad, it was already too messy. So yes, let's agree, Sophia's mom, you failed your daughter. You had part that you failed your daughter. 3, Bumpy's mom. Bumpy's mom was the worst because she tolerated bad behavior. She tolerated what most mothers would have warned their child not to continue doing. She tolerated that behavior. She nurtured it. She would show that Bumpy, whatever it is that you're doing, it's okay. It's to a fellow woman, it's okay. She tolerated way too much toxic behavior, and instead of correcting the son, she actually went along with it. That's just sad. It's insane. It's insane. Now, what do we say of this lady? Was not benefiting anything apart from sleeping with Bumpy, doing chores for free in this house. She's just off. I don't get it. You're not part and parcel benefiting in any way apart from fluids being exchanged. You still want to stick there. You still go there as though I'm a Bumpy alikuwa somehow anatumia kakamote. No, because that's insane. I've never come across such a person who thinks in that manner. Because huyo ni wazimu. And now, the biggest culprit of them all, Bumpy. Bumpy is spoiled. Bumpy is nonchalant. Bumpy is narcissistic. Bumpy is abusive. Bumpy is manipulative. And that is not something that just started right away. Bumpy is a sex addict. He just has too many flaws, too many red flags. And interestingly enough, he attracted the most women. Were you blinded? Bumpy continued with this behavior because the people around them tolerated it. People around Bumpy never corrected his behavior. And also deep down, Bumpy knew that he has landed in the hands of a very naive girl who has not experienced the world. So he kept testing her and see the level, how long this lady can persevere. And it kept getting worse and worse to an extent wherein I feel like he used to enjoy seeing this woman suffer. You know, the human beings who enjoy when they see that. They have some sort of power. They might not have power outside there, but once they realize they have power over somebody, that they can exercise that power, they're only going to go down lower. It's not going to get better. They're going to keep testing you, disrespecting you, and it's going to go from here to here. So by the time you realize how deep you are into the disrespects, the trauma, I don't think the trauma can leave easily. So Bumpy knew what he was doing. Bumpy knew every time he kept testing this woman. Bumpy knew his way out of every situation. He just knew if I behave in a certain way just for a little while, I'm going to change her mind. Because she cannot open her eyes, so why not go along with it? And I think everyone around Sophia failed her. Everyone around Sophia failed her. And every time she felt something is off, the people around her told her that she was the one on the wrong, and she believed it. Even the policeman failed this lady. I hope she gets the peace and the love she deserves. She's able to overcome this trauma, because it takes a lot to come out of such kind of a situation. Any small triggers will take you right back to where it all began. Ladies, when you see a man bombard you with so much love in the initial stages, some mean well, but that's a very small percentage. Out of 100, only 10% mean well. 90% use that as a strategy of manipulating you, and you don't open your eyes. You are in for a rough ride. Peace.
To the whole 2 hours end. And I have a lot to say. When I was talking about it in my previous video, I was talking about it in a light note, you know. I was just thinking, this is a toxic man. She must have left, you know, like, because I was putting myself in her shoes. Little did I know that the episode would end with a child. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental, just abuse. Shorty went through all that because she talked to a man in a smocher stand. Unbelievable. Sophia, let's not keep the unga of ugali that your mother used to cook for you when you were little, because you have strength. Uko na nguvu, madam. It reached to a point I was judging her too harshly, but then again I circled back and I thought, this babe met this man at her most vulnerable moment, when deleting someone from your stomach. That's not a joke. Subconsciously, she felt seen. I first heard the part where there was a baby mama, and the baby mama was sending paragraphs of insults. And I said, you called Bumpy to tell the baby mama to stop? You think the baby mama is crazy? One thing I'm going to tell the girlies, never believe a nigga when he says, oh, she's obsessed, or she's crazy. Sir, you and I damn well know who made her crazy. Don't. I lost it when Bumpy and his mother were telling her, you know, you do not know the dynamics because you've been raised in a single parent home. Dynamics ni mangumi. You must be insane. Actually, yes, I was raised in a single parent home, and I'm about to copy my mother to the latter. Ndio maana tunafunzwa critical thinking shule. Because the baby mama is who she later became. Just because she chose to believe a man over a woman. You know, there was a time this girl said, oh, the baby mama called me and she said, I need to go to the gym, at least work on my ass, so when I walk around, people can look. Well, the delivery was wrong, but the message, honey, the message was on point. No, for real, go work on yourself. Even your mother told you in the beginning, but you don't want to listen. This is another thing. Listen to your friends and your mother and your sister and your family members, because trust you me, she wants the best for you. But that man that's about you to make you look like a mad fucking woman isn't. Now, I don't know how factual this is, but men have 3 vices. Alcohol. If it's not that, it's the money. If it's not that, it's the women. Another tip for the girlies. You might call your mother-in-law mom, mommy, mcheke, mseme venye mtoto wako anafanana na mtoto wake. But when push comes to shove, guess who came down that coochie? It's your husband and not you. She will always pick her son. So don't you ever, for a reason, not have your mother on speed dial for any situation. Now, sweetheart, if you consider yourself a ride or die, a lover that loves to fight for the love, go and listen to that episode. Then you will understand why it is very, very important to be a liver. Now, Sophia, do right by the people and provide a passport-size photo for Bumpy to avoid further damages. Thank you.
I just concluded listening to that podcast. Yeah, Jules. So this is love on Bumpy and Sophia. And all I can say is I'm just shocked. The entire 2 hours, 30 minutes, I was just, okay. I had to feel everything within the 2 hours because the story is just shocking. This girl was in a pick me mode, ama sijui shida ilikuwa ni nini, to a point where she would go to Tinder, look for women, get these women, just because the man wanted. I mean, you're a girlfriend and you're looking for women for your boyfriend,
I just don't get it. Ni wewe unaenda Tinder, ni wewe una create profile, ni wewe there's this question enye Jules aliuliza at the end, and she wanted to understand the psychology of such a person while you're doing all those things, while unachapwa, while you're being abused. What is on your mind? And in as much as the lady answered, I still didn't get an answer. I still don't understand. In as much as I understand her, I still don't understand. I don't get it. And hii story inanikumbusha ile story ya Reza Tiza sometimes back, the 50-part story.
If you ever asked me if I would listen to a podcast and cry, I'd look at you like, are you crazy or something? So today I hopped on Sophia and Bumpy. It's a podcast on Spotify by Jules. And I couldn't truly fathom what I was hearing. The abuse, the lie, the cheating, the manipulation. It's just absurd. And honestly speaking, I'm seated here, just hoping that wherever she is healing, she's working on herself, and she's just gonna be okay. And I know she, from the ending of the podcast, she sounded pretty okay, but to just think about everything that she went through, like that trauma, it just can't get out of your system very easily. And it was just crazy when I hit like the around 1 hour and 45 minutes. I just started crying, bro, like, because I'm like, how can one person just be going through all of these things and they are still staying, And I couldn't just, I wasn't understanding, but sometimes living is just so hard, especially when you're dealing with a manipulator, a gaslighter, one of these people that abuse you, and then they are so sweet to you the next minute, you just don't know what to do, But I'm really, really happy to hear that at the end of the day, she actually left. At the end of the day, she still found a way to leave that relationship. And she's even strong enough to come out here and tell the story. And for all the people that are out there and they're in relationships that, if you're being abused, leave. Let me tell you, if someone disrespects you, they don't need to even beat you. They don't need to raise their hand. They don't even to raise their voice. The moment someone just disrespects you in the name of even if it's just like Matusi or anything like that, walk away. Start packing your bags and leave, because they start small and then they escalate to something that cannot be controlled at the end of the day. It's just crazy to think about the things that we do to people that we claim to love. It's absurd, truly absurd. It just does not make sense to me. But, well, I think this is one of the podcasts that, are very eye-opening, and I'm glad that, all of us are hopping on it and listening to it, and I'm just hoping that we're picking some 1, 2, and 3 and stuff. So, yeah, so go on Spotify, So This Is Love, Jules, and listen to it, and leave that abusive partner of yours. Leave, bro. Leave. Don't stay there. Don't do that.
2 hours and 30 minutes of horror. That was a horror podcast. And you know what's the funny thing? Okay, there's nothing funny about that podcast. But the fact that you don't know how these people look like, it's interesting. That interesting word, whenever she said, that's interesting. I don't know what. It made me feel, I don't know how I feel about it. Oh my God. Anyway, the fact that you don't know how these people look like, so you have to envision something, or you have to create an image. I created an image of this man I know, and now I hate him. He has done nothing wrong, but now I hate him because when she described this man, I just don't know why I had this man I know in mind, and now I hate him. I hate him because how could you not hate him? That's the man I just thought of throughout the 2 hours, 30 minutes, and this man has done nothing wrong.